My name is Joe Gall. 27 years ago, I became convinced that our present educational system was pure and simple wrong for American kids. So I founded the Hyde School in Bath, Maine, to find an education that respected the character and unique potential of every student. This film by 60 Minutes portrays the exciting new concept we found. It may appear that the concept is just for kids with problems. It isn't. We set out to prove that any kid, regardless of background or circumstances, can excel given the right attitude and effort, but also the feeling that he or she is really important.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Harry Reasoner.
I'm Ed Bradley. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes. Private schools, those bastions of upper middle class America where parents who can afford it send their sons and daughters to get away from everyday problems, are now plagued by the same everyday problems that plague the public schools. But there is one private school, tuition $15,000 a year, that seems to have a solution. It's the Hyde School in Bath, Maine, where 145 students get a different kind of education.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Most of these youngsters have had problems ranging from drugs, alcohol, or food abuse to more severe behavioral problems. And every kid here is struggling to make something better out of life. The morning meeting always ends with one student giving the quote for the day.
Character is like a photograph. It develops in the dark. And what that means to me is you learn the most from the mistakes that you've made in your past.
I mean, I came here November of last year. I came right out of a mental hospital. It had been my second time in a mental hospital, and I was heavy into drugs and suicide attempts and all that kind of stuff, and I was not taking responsibility for anything.
The kid who comes here wants something, and he knows he's not putting it together right. He's screwing up, and he knows he doesn't believe in himself, and yet he's got a lot of pride, and he's, fighting a lot of things. Maybe he's got some problems.
Joe Gall founded the Hyde School in 1966. His dream was to have a school where troubled youngsters could come for help.
The question is, can they look at themselves? Do they really want help, and are they willing to put something in to get it?
I guess when I came here, I just wanted to get over the bad stuff. I didn't really think about anything above and beyond that. And since I've been here, I've not only shed that and come to a point where I can run my own life, but started to pursue excellence.
Tripp is a senior now. The other youngsters are still underclassmen.
What is it like here as a school? How would you describe it?
Well, it's very different. It's very different from any school I've ever been to. And I think the expectations here are so much greater. Like, not so much what you achieve, but how you achieve it. And no one here expects you to be, the best compared to everybody else, but they want you to be the best that you can be for yourself.
Any feeling, any sense, a negative feeling, anything else? Fear, evil.
Although academics are important, heavy emphasis is also placed on other things like excellence, hard work, and character. And even in an English class, there is a continual self-examination.
And we've talked a lot in this class about how in order to really come to grips with yourself now, you need to come to grips with parts of your past.
Like, I had an incident with my grandparents' house, and it kind of burned down, and it was my fault. And but the same day, I met a girl, and I didn't want to stay at the motel with my family. I wanted to go out and hang out with this girl, and it was unbelievable that I didn't recognize my own selfishness.
If you can believe in yourself, then you can accomplish anything, whatever it is that your potential says you can.
How do you get kids to believe in themselves?
Well, I think that's the first thing is get away from the comparison about abilities. Get them away from the idea that, that their achievement measures their sense of worth. Get them to the idea that what measures you is your character. Abilities are a gift, okay? Those are something you were given. Your character is what you own. That's what you've got.
I know I took a real step this year in doing that.
In fact, it's the kids themselves who make sure those standards are maintained.
My parents and I came to agreement that the character thing has to be put on the back burner for now, and I have to go for my grades.
You don't put one aside to work on the other, ever.
Grades are a result of character. You put your character back on the back burner, then your grades are going to go right down in the ashtray, you know?
It's in these informal situations outside the classrooms that you get a better sense of just how unique this place is.
See, the only way it's going to work is, you have to be true to yourself. You got to start there, and you have to be what you are. And if you're a jerk, you're a jerk.
Are there people who go through here and fake it, beat the system?
I don't think they can make it all the way through.
Yeah, but what's the point of lying your way through? I mean, being honest with yourself is one of the big things, and if you're lying about it, how's that going to help you at all?
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Gold says they have a way of dealing with kids who have alcohol or drug problems too.
First of all, you have to begin to get them to start focusing upon, who are you and where you're going with your life, and what does this have to do with it. For example, Brother's Keeper at Hyde School. A kid, if you go out and you smoke pot, and I'm one of your classmates, and I see you, I'm going to get you to turn yourself in.
So, I'm a kid in the Hyde School.
Yep.
I'm smoking pot. You're going to come to me and say, turn myself in?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say, buzz off.
Not here, you won't.
Do you ever feel like you're snitching on your friends?
No, I mean, I think when everyone first comes here, they do. I mean, I just thought narc. I mean, I'm not going to narc
On your friend.
Yeah, I mean, no way. And the longer you're here, the more you realize if I respect this person and I love this person, then I want them to go after their best. And I know that if it's someone with an eating disorder, if they're abusing food, then they're not going after their best. I'm going to hold them to that. If it's someone who's going out and drinking, they're not going after their best. I'm going to hold them to that. And you view it more as how can I help this person rather than
how can I snitch on this person?
Joe Gauld says that Hyde hasn't always run the way it does today, that in the early years they were always experimenting with ways to make the kids turn out right. And although they haven't done any formal follow-ups on their graduates, Gauld says that more than 90% of them go on to college.
You live up here in Bath, Maine. Some people would say it's pretty easy to achieve, or easier to achieve success here than in coping with the problems you have out there in the real world. That you pull the kids away from the reality and put them in this situation.
Well, I think that's probably true to the degree that you've got a situation where there are problems, and those problems are rooted in families. And so sometimes what we do is we pull a kid out of that, and so now we can get the kid to focus on his or her problems, and get the family, the parents, to focus on theirs.
Are you doing good, Dad?
Which brings us to Joe Gauld's secret weapon, parents.
Use that white rope.
Parents are expected to put in their time at Hyde. There are several weekends a year when all of the parents meet at the school. They are also divided into regional groups that meet around the country each month. And if you think this looks tough, well, that's not the half of it.
Brandon, if I didn't give you some conditions, you wouldn't get off your butt, damn it. You would just coast. You really would just coast. I think you've got to be pushed. You won't push yourself.
Every parent and child is required to participate in these 3-day marathon group therapy sessions.
He's picking up his traits from you. And you can dictate to him, but that's not going to make it any different.
They divide the group into small clusters of several families with one faculty member present. The theory is behind every troubled youngster, there's a troubled family.
If you expect him to put out 100%, you have to put out 100%. Actually, most people get here because their kid is out of control. There is a problem. Something is going wrong in your life. And most parents point their finger at the kid and say, what are you doing? Why are you ruining my life and your life? And that's what we were doing. And when we came here, the idea was that maybe you're focusing on him and you should look elsewhere. You should look within.
Like most Hyde parents, Judy and Hank have found that look within to be very painful. It's their second year here now, and Tripp hopes to graduate in June. Like most parents, they've learned that Hyde can better help their son if they try to work on their own problems.
I dug deep. I know that because I'm an adult child of an alcoholic, that I'm angry. I felt abandoned. And I reacted to everything with anger.
Hank, can you see how, by you getting into your anger, the role that you play in helping the family avoid the issue?
Yes.
You know, I feel like...
But if you stuff anger, which is what I did for the first half of my life, if I don't react honestly...
I'm not asking you to do that.
But
okay?
then it's... I'm sorry.
Okay. I just want to know if you can understand how, because that's what happens with us. Because if it works in your family the way it works in our family, you know, that's trouble.
In a group dynamic, sometimes it just gets very painful. And you just feel like, Jesus, I can't take another minute of this, you know. But in the end, it makes you look at the real issues.
Why did you choose to go down this road? I mean, it's not the only...
There was no choice. It was that or lose them.
It can't be the easiest thing to have to accept, though, some of this blame for yourself.
It's awful. But it's easy to accept if it gets better, right? If you can say, yeah, screwed up. How do we fix it? Let's go to work.
You and I share a lot of the same background and experiences, and I hated admitting it here.
I really believe that if you're feeling emotion, you're into something that's important.
I know, for my parents, when I think about just growing up and seeing the changes with them, it's amazing.
Is it that they are changing, or you are seeing things differently, that you've changed, or have they really changed?
They've really changed. I mean, both. I'm seeing things differently because I've changed. It was really easy for me to point the finger at them and them to point the finger at me. And I think just this last Parents' Weekend, we both stepped back and had to look at ourselves.
You're one hell of a kid.
And ever since then, I see such a difference in the way we communicate and interact with one another, because it's like we've accepted it as our own problems and that we can't control the other person.
One thing that comes across to me here is that parents are expected to show their children how they have improved. When I was in school, it was the other way around. You had to impress your parents.
I don't think it's impressing, because I know what I do and what they do, we're doing for ourselves and for no one else but ourselves.
But what happens when these kids leave here? Will the Hyde solution work? For a large percentage of the kids who graduated from here, it has. For these youngsters, this graduation is the first step from a troubled past to a future that looks more promising than the day when they first arrived at the Hyde School.
I'm eager to live the life you have all helped me to see for myself, and I'm very, very ready to start. And Mom, Dad, Kimmy, Nanny, Jason, there's no question that you've all been behind me the whole time, and I love you all very much, and I'm glad that you're here to share this with me.
I wish that there was a Hyde, Colorado and a Hyde, California. I think it's a great concept.
I think this idea can be incorporated in lots of schools. It doesn't have to just happen at this one place.
Let's spread the wealth.
In June, Joe Gauld stepped down as headmaster. His son Malcolm has taken over. Gauld is going out after his dream to set up Hyde schools in other parts of the country.
Hyde families are successful because they rediscovered the pioneer spirit of America. If you're dissatisfied, you pull up stakes and find a better way. This concept will work anywhere, given the commitment to one's best by the entire family, backed by a school community of committed teachers, students, and parents. If you and other members of your community are convinced the education you have now is not your best, write to us. Together, all of us can begin to build an education that means something to all American kids. Thanks. Hope to hear from you soon. For further information, write Joseph W. Gall, 616 High Street, Bath, Maine, 04530, or call area code 207-443-5584.